Hello, lovelies. Today is Friday, August the 18th, 2023, and we've begun the Yellow Warrior Wave spell. I'm making this video on day 2, which is Red Lunar Earth. Yellow Warrior began yesterday, and Yellow Warrior is the 16th Mayan sign, and the planet that's connected to Yellow Warrior is Saturn, which is matched with the previous wave spell of Blue Night, which is the 3rd Mayan sign. And they actually wrap around. So this is, a flat representation, but these actually wrap around in a torus, so they connect to each other. So each one of these 20 Mayan signs has a twin, and they work together. At the moment, we are in Yellow Castle, which is a 52-day process of Red Earth. And Red Earth began back on, let me just check, I can put that in, the 9th of July on Moon 13, day 13. So Cosmic Moon, day 13. Just love all these magical numbers. And so today being Red Lunar Earth, we're going back to the whole cycle that we've done so far, of course, our whole lifetime, of course, as well. But to bring that down into a smaller micro, we are looking at the first 13 days, what came up in the first 13 days from the 9th of July onwards. And that was our awakening, our Uranus energy, because that's the planet of Red Earth. So what was coming to light at that time that was ungrounding us? And this is a great way to cross-pollinate with the Gregorian calendar and your own personal notes, because that's what this is all about. Remember, is mapping those patterns over a long period of time so they become clearer. And as we work within and we heal, we start to see these patterns radiating a different energy. So every time we are on a portal day, it's a galactic activation portal day. And also another way of looking at that is it's an Akashic record day, it's a learning day, it's a teaching day. And often these days will be very significant as to what is happening in our holograph. And so we can see and remember that everything is actually a reflection of us and our life and our ancestors' life so far. And as we become more and more a conscious dreamer, and we become more aware of these patterns, Yellow Warrior, the Saturnian patterns, the Saturn return, that happens around every 29, 30 years in our lifetime, then we can see how much we are working within to evolve and release our ancestral patterning. So today is a special day for me because it's my solar return. And this is the energy that I'm going to be working with this year. As I am 58, I'm also now a Mayan elder, and that happens when you're 52, when you have the same Mayan sign year that you have when you came into the planet. And this only happens once unless you're lucky enough to live till 104. And then once you reach the age of 52, you then repeat. So I am also on the year when I was 6 years old, which is 1971, and revisiting that time. And luckily, I have my mum still on planet Earth, so we can chat about these things and revisit those events at this incredible time of transformation on planet Earth, which is bringing its own revelations, of course. So, the card for today, the Dreamer and the Dreamed. And I just want to read you the excerpt of that. I'll just put it on there so that you can pause this video and read it for yourself. And this is from the Mayan Oracle, which is a great book of cards, fantastic for using with the Mayan calendar. So as you can see, it's a web. Call it what you will. So it could be a holograph, it could be a matrix, the giant mystery school that we're in on planet Earth. Qualities: destiny, personal dream, synchronicity, mosaic of meaning, the larger dream. Your personal dream is unfolding. You are the dreamer revealing the dream. Be present, be aware. Remember that you are the ancient sage who carries the wisdom of lifetimes into this moment, and that this dream offers you the opportunity to merge all that you have been and may become. Time and space are folding. Stop and feel the interweaving of threads in the new dream. Be aware of potent dreams, chance meetings, catalytic books, and unusual encounters. As you recognize these threads from the larger dream, an exciting tapestry of meaning and purpose emerges. The dreamer is awakening, destiny is dawning. See how your past has brought you into the present and how the present catapults you into the future. Watch for strong feelings and intuitive knowings, patterns, images, colours, sounds, and sensations. Bring the mythic expression of yourself into the dream of your daily life. Free yourself from the way you normally view the world. You are the dreamer and the dreamed. In the collective dream field, all things are possible and are constantly being created. By choosing to become a conscious dreamer, you are helping to create the new reality of the larger dream, the greater reality unfolding. And the Thoth card, the Tower, which is also, as you can see, number 16, which aligns with Yellow Warrior as the 16th sign. And if you add those together, that's number 7, which is Blue Hand, which is instrumental as the mystic, because the more that we recognize our sacred ability to connect to source energy and to be the conscious dreamer and to be the universe, and that we are God and Goddess incarnate, embodied here, the universe wanting to express itself on planet Earth and to create at this time conscious dreamers. The more that we remember and the more that we heal, the more we unlock the secrets from our DNA, things that have been hidden to us that we cannot access in terms of deep esoteric wisdom, because we have to go through the challenges that are written about in Greek mythology, for example, and we have to go through these Herculean tasks in order to be able to handle the vibration and the energy and make the choices, because it is just like a computer program. So if we're at phase 1, level 1, then we may be unawake, we may be doing lots of things that we've been programmed to do by our culture that are very unhealthy. And we will get ill because of that. As we progress and we open up more and we become braver and have courage, and again, the sun in Leo at the 25th degree, again, if you add those together, that's the mystic, number 7. This is the higher heart, it's the higher spiritual path, it's Leo Decan 3 that we're in now. And so the more that we commit to being brave and looking at our shadows and looking at the parts of ourselves that we don't like, our behaviours, be ready to feel our feelings, then we really initiate our heart's intelligence, which is what Yellow Warrior is all about. So in terms of following the path, it's surrendering to the path, which is not a passive thing. It's very much a proactive position. It is about, as it said in the book, The Dreamer and the Dreamed, it's being willing to look at our belief system, recognizing, to use NLP language, that the map is not the territory. So we have crafted a perception and a map of life, the world, the universe in our mind and also energetically in our body, and how we feel about ourselves in our heart. That's so important. That before we begin inner work, we have the burdens, we have the wounding, we have the distorted beliefs of our tribe, our ancestors, our culture. And so it's often a painful process, a fall from grace, the dark night of the soul, it's often called. And I think that's a distorted saying as well, because it's the dark night of the ego that's happening, where our childlike ego from our childhood that we carry with us throughout life until we start to transform it. We have beliefs that we're not worthy, that we're not good enough. And what happens then is, in the holograph that we live in the matrix, whatever you wish to call it, this also reflects back, and we are always seeing ourselves wherever we go. We're seeing our belief systems, we're seeing this replay of our childhood on a day-to-day basis. So the more that we can become present, then how to do that when we have all these voices, thoughts, ways of seeing the world that may not be at peace. So we're constantly being hijacked by our amygdala back to the past, and often stuck in a place of anger, stuck in a place of grief. So learning how to heal that. And if you watch my videos, you know I always talk about using EFT because it works. And check that out if you haven't already. Emotional Freedom Technique is out on many platforms for free. emofree.com, check out that website, and you can download a manual that will teach you how to do it. And you can work with a personal peace procedure every day to get in touch with anything that is replaying for you that creates emotional stress. So the goal that we're working towards as the Heart Warrior is to have a heart that is at peace and free of this stress. So I'm just going to share with you notes that I made. Okay, so every 13 days I do an ebook, and this time I've just done a very brief overview. So again, echoing what I've just said, really, what our heart wants to create, not our mind, not our ego, is peace and freedom from drama. So just remembering when we're children and the times when we've had peaceful, joyful, happy times. And again, most of the time when we're a child, if we are lucky, because I know this isn't true for everybody, but if we are lucky to grow up with caring parents who have some stability, then everything is taken care of for us and we can just be free to play at times and just be our true natural self to a greater degree than when we're adults. So we can relax a lot more. And that's what we're moving towards with doing this inner work. So that we don't need lots of stuff, we don't need lots of drama. We can just be on this beautiful Eden at peace. Again, the amygdala, and if you don't know a lot about that, Google that, check that out. That's our fight, flight, or freeze response. It keeps us safe. It also keeps us stuck. And we keep replaying the same stories because the universe wants us to learn how to heal and how to do different behaviors and activate that heart wisdom. So we're still doing the drama on some level. And again, Leo energy is the start of the Mayan calendar. It's the start of the 13 moon cycle. And in this wave spell, we're still in magnetic moon. And just to speak of that, actually today, we are on moon in Virgo waxing. The whole of this 13-day cycle is waxing moon, building to a super moon in Pisces at 7 degrees. And that's going to be in the next wave spell, in the next 52-day cycle of red moon, when we're in the green castle of the heart. And remembering that red moon is the 9th Mayan sign. That will be here after this next 12 days now. We will be in the green castle. And so we'll see how authentic we are at that point. So today the moon's in Virgo at 19 degrees, 44. And so I'm going to read you inside degrees actually is 20 degrees. The expanse of the Himalayas in the distance. When you place a spiritual cosmic perspective upon every single little thing that happens, you will either overshoot the mark or discover perfect meaning. The overshooting of the mark happens when the little mind and the greater mind become what in their relativities. Proportion tumbles before pregnant magnitude. Everything is sprinkled with archetypal overtones. Perfect meaning arises here when the truth is the yardstick and you simply align yourself with the truth in a non-dogmatic fashion. The spirit of discovery becomes the spur. The unknown makes the known precious and poignant. You finally get it right that every microcosmic situation is a jewel in the making and only needs to be appreciated and boosted by faithful beholding. The passage is from thinking about it to becoming at home within the path of bringing all worlds together, just as the occasion makes possible with a light touch and an easy grasp of the reins. Becoming being the key. So the moon story we've been working with Red Earth, because the second day of Red Earth is white lunar mirror. And again, you can look at each lunar day and you can cross-reference it and go back to that time. And the more that you record the information about your own personal journey and what's been triggering for you, the more you become the warrior of the heart, the more aware you become, and the more you work on your triggers, the more clear you become, and the more you can radiate the light. So if we go back to the previous castle, and I don't have the dates for that, but again, 52 days before that. So again, red serpent, and going into the center of the Zolkin with the 10 portal days, a very, very powerful time. And so the second 13-day process is white mirror, and that begins here and goes up into the center spinal column, which is the very top of the pyramid. So again, if you imagine that shape as a torus, but also that there's a pyramid is the other shape. So we're right at the top when we're in the center of the Zolkin. So we're climbing up and then we're coming out the other side. And we just do this perpetually for 260 days. It began on the 3rd of February, and it's Aquarius energy that it was initiated in. So what was happening as we went into the center of the Zolkin? What were we learning about what was in our holograph? And I promise you that if you do this inner work, that you will see your holograph change, because you will change. And as you meet the challenges and the lessons, and as you heal them, and as you change your behavior, everything changes. And so this is so essential for how our world changes, how our world evolves. People have to evolve, and their holograph will change. And at the moment, most people believe that the things that they do outside of themselves are what creates change, without doing any inner work. But it simply just repeats more of the same. And that's really logical if you think about it. So what we have been seeing in our holograph that triggers our past emotional body and the illusions, delusions, and distortions of our ego and other people's ego have created in order to survive. So we've created a lot of suppression of our feelings. We're not telling the truth a lot of the time. And this, of course, makes us feel repressed and angry, stuffing down our feelings with food, for example, creating dramas, stimulants so that we can feel alive. Because inside, if we don't address and make changes in our life, we become more depressed. And because the body doesn't lie, that's the thing, our mind can lie to us and manipulate us, but our body doesn't lie. When we get sick, our energy gets blocked, and this is how we create ill health and disease. And at the root of any physical disease, there is an emotional issue. There is an energetic issue for everything. And the more that we understand our patterns, the more we start to appreciate this. And also the more that we cross-reference with other people as well, whoever's in our life. So for example, today, the pattern for my husband, this is his Mayan day in his 13-year patterns. And so I can cross-reference with him. Our joint patterns together are yellow spectral warrior, and releasing whatever is getting in the way of living in the heart path. So feel to heal, that's the key. Let your feelings come up. Of course, a lot of people don't do that because They don't know how to handle their feelings, and especially around other people. But again, if you use EFT, you can start to learn how to transform your feelings just working by yourself. You don't need to be expressing them with other people and creating more drama and creating more wounding, for example. So it's a big learning curve and a big change. So we're moving towards greater wisdom, heart intelligence, rather than living from our survival fear brain and amygdala conditioning. So truly living and breathing heart intelligence and allowing ourselves to be guided by our angel on board. So as I said before, both of the twins, Blue Knight and Yellow Warrior, have Saturn as their planet. Currently, this is in Pisces and retrograde. And for me, this is my Saturn return, which won't be exact until next year. So I'm looking at my Saturn return when I first became a mum. My son has the same Saturn return as me in Pisces. So again, we have a very special connection there around that pattern. Are we really fulfilling our warrior mission, our heart's desire to be living in peace with people who can see us and be loving, authentic, and respectful? And if not, why not? What action do we need to take to allow that to happen? Within, heal those trigger movies, those amygdala stories that are still running, where we've got emotional resonance and intensity. And then as we do that, the outside does change and we learn new behaviors and beliefs and live them. And another thing is, if you're around toxic people, toxic situations, just is what it is. If you want to be around spiritual people, then are you going to find a lot of spiritual people living alternative lifestyles at a football match, for example? Again, I'm not being judgmental about or hierarchical about a football match. It's just you don't tend to get the people who visit them. Generally speaking, the pattern for people who do that don't tend to be people who you may find like in a monastery or an ashram or doing meditation at the weekends. I'm not saying they're not there, but you get what I'm trying to say is look for people who are modeling the patterns, living the life embodiment that you want to follow. Because if you go to places, so for example, if you don't drink and you don't want to be around drunk people, then you don't go to bars, because it's a very different energy. So go to the places that are resonating with peace, go to the beautiful gardens, go to the natural places, go to the peaceful places, and move away from any life situation that's creating a lot of stress for you. And when I think back to things that I've done, like running pubs, for example, years ago, and dealing with drunken people who are trying to drown their sorrows and not do the necessary changes in their life, just stay in the same old situation. That was very, very challenging and very stressful. And of course, it creates an impact on you in that environment. And you always have a choice. You can always make a change. It is just moving out of comfort zones over and over again. So to create heaven on earth, which is in itself a 52-day process, which is in the White Castle, going back to the White Castle of Red Skywalker, then we have to resonate with what creates peace and joy and love and emotional freedom and embodiment of resonance with the galactic sun. So we're also in this, at the moment, we're in a 10th day process, the 10th process of Red Dragon, which began with Red Crystal Dragon. And so we're seeing the manifestation of how much we're embodying the galactic sun consciousness, what the Great Mother is bringing us for our conscious evolution. So we're here, and we've got 3 more days to go of this. And then we go into the 11th, which begins with Red Rhythmic Dragon and runs down the bottom to Yellow Crystal Sun in the Green Castle. So we're working through what needs to be released now more and more to get into the rhythm of the new consciousness that's coming in. So letting go of survival patterns to radiate the light of the galactic sun. The Mayan moon, as we entered yesterday, we're on day 23 of magnetic moon. And there's 28 days in every moon cycle. So we go into lunar moon 28-day cycle on August the 23rd, when the sun goes into Virgo and Mercury goes retrograde until September the 15th. So we're going to be going back over old ground. And so again, I've just read to you the moon at 20 degrees. Now at 21 degrees, Dark River and Distant Bell. So much to be done, so many fragments to move with, such a confounding. The one inside is calm and quiet, poised and accepting, knows what shall be. The one outside is frantic with events and experiences which do not add up. Very much what's going on the planet right now. Severe conditions to test the soul and give the mind quite a scare. The process is to keep going into it a little further, despite yourself, and to keep losing who you thought you were in the bargain. But there is somebody to be when there is nobody left to be, and only then. So again, powerful words. We're going through powerful times which have to happen to wake people up and make them change their behaviour, because otherwise people stay in their comfort zone because it's comfortable, even when it's killing them. So we're going to be going over old ground, over old mindsets, again, over old reality check. And remember, the cycle, the 260-day cycle that came before this was in Virgo, where we were seeing the reality. With this supermoon that's coming up, so Pisces is really about the dreams on one level, and huge energy, very sensitive, emotional energy, very psychic energy. But Virgo is what grounds it and what brings it in. And once we go into the sun in Virgo, then we're very much working with the practical realities, the details. And that's on white resonant wind day. So that's on day 7 of this cycle, which again is the mystic day, the day 7. Again, if you know what your personal codes are, then you can really work with that. So for me, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Age 11 is when I started high school, which was a challenging time, fun and exciting, but also a much bigger pond to swim in, and brought in a lot of very challenging patterns for me. So again, the more that you focus on this is what Virgo is about, focusing on the details, the more clarity you will get. And so we will have completed the first 28-day cycle of magnetic moon at that point. And then we have the holograph story for ourselves, what we've attracted in, what our resonance is, what our pattern is, what we're going to be. working with around authenticity and being the beacon of light. And then we go into the moon story, the lunar story, the what is the emotional story that we're going to be looking to heal and get clear of. And red lunar moon, which again is my husband's Mayan sign. This is the yellow star Wavespell in Greencastle, the very last Wavespell, and the second day of it. The last time we were in that energy was January. And sorry, yes, I've just made a mistake saying we were in Virgo energy last time. We weren't, we were in Taurus energy. We were in Virgo energy in the one before that. So in the last 260-day cycle, we're seeing what was manifest, that was real and embodied, rather than what our mind tells us. So Leo Sun, step 24, it began yesterday, Decan 3. And so we've been working through that Leo energy of self-love and love in action in daily life. And now we're looking at, okay, so what's the higher vision of this? What are we looking to create this year, this cycle? And so stepping away from the old timelines so that we can really live the life we are dreaming into being, our heart's desire, and birthing that new earth energy, red earth 52-day cycle through each one of us. So again, seeing what's manifest right here, right now, and where we want to expand that. And we expand that paradoxically by letting go. So I've talked about the new moon and the full moon. And again, very much, I'm not going to talk much about this because it's the next wave spell, but the full moon in Pisces at 7 degrees. So this is going to be a super moon and will have a significant Saturnian influence. And so again, having the dreams, but then bringing them into practical reality. We have Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, Neptune, and Chiron in retrograde at the moment. So very much about looking within and reflecting on this holograph outside of ourselves. We had the new Venus cycle birthed on the 13th of August. And so she is reborn, and as are we. Today is Friday, which of course is a Venus day as well. So for me, this year, I have some very big dreams, and I am beginning those now. When I look at where I've been in order for me to start to realize those dreams, it's been an amazing journey, spending 10 years in Glastonbury, which I used to do life coaching groups when I lived up in Huddersfield area, Marsden, in the north of England. And I had very sort of focused 5-year plans, and Glastonbury wasn't on that at all. So that was something that came out of the blue. But I knew as soon as it came in that I had to go, and I always trust that intuition. And the more clear that you get, the more you can trust that, because you know you're not coming from a distortion place. You're coming from a connection to your source energy. So 26 years ago, approximately, just before my Saturn return, I came to Naples in Florida on holiday, and I never thought that I would actually be here at this time. It went out of my mind. completely. And yet it was very significant that I came here. And I don't know how all of that is going to play out right now. But I'm just really enjoying being here. I do miss family and friends, and I would love that people would be here today sharing my birthday with me. So lots of love to you all. You're always really in my heart, no matter how far away I am. I really love my children, especially, and I hope to be sharing this space with you at some time in the near future. So for me, this time has really been about a whole 30-year journey around health, perception, what's going on the planet, and how that is really expanding now. And being able to share that different perception with other people and know that inside I feel very different to how I felt back then. We've been through some very shocking life changes on planet Earth, and of course that's why we came here at this time to do it. The most important thing that we can do is focus on ourselves and our healing, getting clear, changing our behaviours, and in doing so coming into more joy, more peace, and more assistance from the universal energy and heart, wisdom and intelligence, that galactic sun. I never dreamed I would be doing the Mayan calendar. I'd never even heard of it. I never knew that I would be working with energy therapies, although I did know that I would be working with people and psychology in some way. And my passion about the earth, my passion about plants, healing medicine, and all of that sacred energy. I'm just so excited at what's going to happen over the next year. And I wish you an amazing journey in the warrior, your heart's desire. And it is all about loving ourselves, feeling happy, and letting go of needing to be defined by anything or anyone else. Really unique, and we are an amazing gift. Lots of love. Bye for now.